Good afternoon. Today we are working on PO9. I can multiply and divide integers and fractions. So just like when we were adding and subtracting, we have some rules that we need to follow. So let's review how to multiply and divide integers and fractions. You will not be able to use a calculator on the test, but you may use one now to check your answers. So on the test, you're just doing it on pencil and paper, no checking our answers with the calculator. But we want to make sure we can do our math correctly. So on the homework, we'll double check. So here are our rules. When we have a positive times or divided by a positive, our answer will be a what? Positive. When we have a positive times or divided by a negative, our answer will be negative. When we have a negative times or divided by a positive, our answer will be negative. And when we have a negative times or divided by our negative, our answer is positive. Another way to look at this, if we have like signs, positive, positive, negative, negative, our answer will always be positive. If we have unlike signs, positive, negative, negative, positive, unlike signs, our answer will always be negative. Like signs, the answer is positive. I'm not sure why we have calculators in. Unlike signs are negative. So remember that this is only for multiplying and dividing, not for adding and subtracting. Adding and subtracting, we're looking at that number line. Which direction am I going on the number line? Multiplying and dividing, that's when this rule applies. So we're going to do the math. Multiply or divide. 8 times negative 3. First thing I'm going to look at is what is my sign going to be? I have a positive and I have a negative. So what's my answer going to be? Positive or negative? Negative, because they're unlike. They are not the same. They are different. Then I'm going to actually do my math. 8 times 3 is 24. Do not forget to double check your sign. Positives and negatives, pay attention. Are they the same? Are they different signs in the problem? What is your answer going to be? Think we'll be able to do the rest of this section fairly easily. James?
What is negative 10 and 1?
Parentheses. Thank you for pointing that out. We have parentheses here. What does it mean when a number is right next to a parentheses? Gus?
Multiplication.
Multiplication. So when something is right next to a multiplication, we multiply. Why do you think when we're working with positives and negatives, we end up with parentheses a lot of the time? Evelyn? It's easier to read. Let's look at this one. Negative 3 times negative 11. If we didn't have those parentheses, it would look like that. It looks like we're multiplying and subtracting, and it gets confusing. So those parentheses makes us know, oh, it's not subtract 11, it's negative 11. The parentheses just helps make it cleared up, stay organized, so we know what we are doing. Aiden.
It's even more confusing when it's negative, minus, and negative.
Yes. Yeah. So if we were to have negative 3 minus negative 11, yeah, very confusing. Important that we have parentheses. You are correct. Okay, so those parentheses just let us know if it's positive or negative. All right, let's look at what the rest is that we are doing. Oops. Fractions. Woo. Next time do that before I start recording. Fractions. To multiply, if necessary, convert mixed numbers, and then you multiply straight across. To divide, if necessary, convert mixed numbers, because when we're multiplying or dividing with fractions, we don't want mixed numbers. No whole numbers thrown in there. Okay, make them improper. Remember, when we divide, you flip the second fraction to its reciprocal, and then you multiply. So when we have that division, we know it's -5/5. I'm going to flip my dividing to multiplying. So that means I have to flip my second fraction to its reciprocal. Now I know I multiply across. There's a lot of us that forgot this on the algebra entrance exam. So we're coming back to it, and we're throwing in negatives and positives. So we need to remember those rules. Am I multiplying same or different? Like or unlike signs? Is my answer going to be positive or negative? And then we also have to remember how to do the math. Remember when we are changing from a mixed number to an improper. Denominator times our whole number plus our numerator. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So 1 1/8 becomes 9/8. Do I need to worry about common denominators? No, because we multiply straight across. We don't need to worry about common denominators. So let's look at our first one. -10/9 times 3/5. First thing I'm going to look at is my signs. I have a negative, and I have a positive. So what's my answer going to be?
Negative.
Negative. Now I'm going to multiply across. 10 times 3 is 30. 9 times 5 is 45. Simplest form. So there are two ways we can do simplest form. I already started my problem, so now I need to see what I'm going to divide out. What should I divide out of a 30 and 45? 15. 30 divided by 15 is 2. 45 divided by 15 is 3. Some of us might not have realized that was the greatest common factor. So we might have divided out a 5. And then we would have had 6 and 9. I can still simplify. 6, 9, I can divide out a 3. Now, is my answer 2/3? Who said no? Raise your hand. No. Why wouldn't it be 2/3? Who can find my mistake? Why is my answer not 2/3? Mallory. When you simplify, you cannot forget that negative sign. It is super easy when we simplify to forget if it's a negative. Always go back and double check. Okay? There is another way that we can do this problem. Who knows how to cross simplify? Walk me through cross simplifying Luca. No? You forgot. Tegan.
So you see how many times 3 goes into 9?
Yeah, so when we cross simplify, we go diagonally. So what can I divide out of 9 and 3? 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So now we're going to look at my 10 and 5. What can I divide out? 5. What's 10 divided by 5? What is 5 divided by 5? Do not forget that it's a negative. And then 2 times 2 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 3 times 1 is 3. Sometimes simplifying right from the get-go, doing that cross simplifying, makes it easier, and we don't have to find that greatest common factor of 15 to divide out. Do I get the same answer either way?
Yeah.
Do what works for you. Some of us totally get cross-simplifying, and we want to do that. Some of us go, yeah, that kind of confuses me. Do you have to cross-simplify? No. Do you always have to make sure you simplify down far enough? Pencils down. Wow. Working ahead on your lesson to get it done when we have plenty of work time is not a good choice. That's how we miss important things. Thank you to my friends who are listening and following along. I appreciate that. Find which way works best for you. Do not forget to simplify all the way down. Keep checking. Can I simplify it farther? What factors do these two numbers share? If the only factor they share is 1, you have simplified as far as you can go. If you know cross-simplifying takes care of that simplifying right at the get-go, and it can be easier. But if you don't understand cross-simplifying, you don't have to use it. Use what works for you. Let's look at what else is on this page. That is, oh, we have another page.
Oh, no.
Word problems. Word problems involving multiplying and dividing fractions can be tricky because you need to not only decide which operation to use, am I multiplying or dividing, but how to set up the calculation. Sometimes it matters which fraction is first. If we're dividing, it really matters which one do we find the reciprocal of. You will find that some situations can be written using both multiplication and division. Ooh, hooray! So write the calculation for each situation, then evaluate it. Show all your work. So I don't want you to read the problem and go, oh, I'm multiplying this and dividing that, and here, this is my answer, and just write your answer. Show all your work. You need to show what your equation is. What's your calculation that you're doing? So let's look at this first one. You and 3 friends are sharing a quart of milk. A quart is 32 ounces. Important to know. You each get 1/4 of the quart. How many ounces do you get? So if you're getting 1/4 of a quart, how do I set up my equation? Aiden.
So you turn my 32 into a fraction.
So how do I do that?
You put 32 over 1.
Okay.
And then you divide it with then I don't.
Help them out. You're right. We need to put 32 as a fraction. Help them out, Tatum. So if we're dividing by 1/4.
We're multiplying by 1.
So let's work this through. That would be 32 over 1 times 4 over 1. So that would be 128 ounces. But we're only starting with 32 ounces. Can that work? No, because now we ended up with way more milk than what I started with. And I hear that word divide. I want to divide up my milk, but I'm putting it into fourths. You each get 1/4 of a quart. So when we're working with those fractions, it changes it up. Priya, what should I do?
32 divided by 4.
Why 32 divided by 4?
Because it's 8, and then 8 times 4 equals 32, and you each get 1/4.
Think it through. How many people are there?
4.
We're dividing it up amongst us and our 3 friends, so 4 people. We're dividing 32 ounces up by 4 people. So you were right in that we're dividing, but we're dividing it by 4 people. So 32 divided by 4, we actually didn't have to put it into a fraction. We each get 8 ounces. because we divided by 4 people. We could have said 32 ounces times 1/4, and we would get that 8 ounces. This is the way that my brain works. I'm dividing up 32 ounces by what? Not by 1/4. I'm dividing it by 4 people. So I know we each get 8 of those ounces. Either way, you get the same answer. Let's do one more together. They are tricky, so follow along. Lois Price found a great deal on potatoes, so she decided to make some potato salad for her friends and family. Each serving of potato salad requires 2/3 of a potato. How many potatoes does Lois need to make 6 servings of the potato salad? How should I set that up? What do you think, James?
Okay, so I think we should divide 2/3 and divide by 6 and
So 2/3 divided by 6 is the same as saying 2/3 times 1/6. So that would give me 2/18. So is that how many potatoes I need? Is 2/18 of a potato? Any little piece of potato? Oh, that sometimes we think we're doing the right math, but our answer doesn't make sense. So always go back and say, does that make sense? Do I need 2/18, an itty bitty sliver of potato to make 6 servings of potato salad? When one potato salad serving is 2/3, that answer doesn't make sense. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to try again. What do you think we should do, Emily? 2/3 of a potato times my 6 servings, because I want 6 servings. One serving is 2/3, and I want 6 of them. So now I have 2 times 6 is 12. 3 times 1 is 3. I need to simplify that. How do I simplify it, Tegan?
12 divided by 3 is 4.
Yeah, 12 divided by 3 is 4, so I need 4 potatoes. Does that make sense? If 2/3 of potatoes, 1 serving, does it make sense? I would need 4 potatoes for 6 servings. Yeah, I might not know for a fact that my math was correct, but it's actually making sense. So whenever you get an answer with these word problems, stop and look back at what the question is. Does your answer make sense? It would not make sense to need 2/18 of a potato for 6 servings. Okay, that would just be an itty bitty if there are 6 servings out of 2/18 of a potato. Mr. Gambino loves potato salad. That would not be a serving for him. Okay, make sure your answer makes sense. Don't just do the math, be done, and move on to the next, because you might have done your math wrong. Got it? Any questions? Hugo.
What is this write the calculation in each situation? But we have to write out.
This is a calculation. 2/3 times 6/1. That is your calculation. That is what math you're doing. So you're not just writing an answer, you're writing the calculation, that equation that you are performing. You have to write it out. So there's no mental math. Big kid math, we don't do a lot of mental math anymore. Okay, this is your calculation. Knowing that 2 times 6 is 12, you don't have to go over here and say 2 times 6 equals 12, 3 times 1 equals 3. We can do some mental math, but your calculation is showing your work. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so for my friends at home, we hope you are well. We hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day.